Welcome to the Satellite Friendships Podcast with Anna and Gail. The show will keep shooting until magka-jowa kami.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't feel any pressure right now. So, kaya mag-podcast na lang tayo hanggat gusto natin. Just kidding. Pero gusto ko rin naman magka-jowa eventually. And I would want a partner who I can have a podcast like conversation for the rest of my life. That's one of the qualities that I'm looking for.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, so the topic for today's podcast is societal pressures and marriage. Si Joyce yung nag-suggest ng topic. Bakit nga marriage yung gusto mong pag-usapan, Joyce?
Bakit nga ba?
Well, kasi recently, nag-birthday ako. So, medyo lumalayo na ako sa kalendaryo. Nawawala na ako. Tapos, ang malala pa is that it's right now, I turned like this age during a pandemic. And I've been noticing that parang ang comfy ko na ganito. But at the same time, like most of like the well wishes for me, most from my family, from my friends, are really for me to find a partner, a spouse. So kahit na comfy naman ako na mag-isa, steady naman ako, parang I feel like may mali sa akin. Kasi for some weird reason, hindi ko pa siya, wala pa akong nakikilala. So there's really the pressure, even if you feel like, even if I tell myself na, okay lang yan. It's okay, come on. It's 2021, my gosh. You know, modern women. It's the time for single people to really, truly enjoy their life. We can do a lot of things. Pero parang hindi pa rin. There's always something na nagsasabi na kulang ka kasi hindi ka pa nagsasettle down. Hindi ka pa nagkakaanak. There's really this pressure. I don't know nga kung saan galing yun eh. I'm sure, hindi ko talaga alam bakit ganun.
Oh, we have an answer for that. Right, Gail? Okay. Yeah, the funny thing is, like, when I was in my 20s, I also had, like, this life plan na at 27, I'm going to get married, and then at 30, I'm gonna have kids. I don't know why yun yung naisip ko na life plan because, I mean, really, like, your goal is to get married and have kids. How can that be a goal? Right? And then fast forward to the present, I'm 32 and that is nowhere in my life plan. Like, to get married.
Yeah.
Like, parang like, how? Like there's nobody. Like, wala nga parang potential partners na who I can even consider right now. And Joyce, you mentioned that now's the time that we're supposed to be enjoying. And I can't even imagine how we can do that, especially because we're in a pandemic and you know, we're all just like trying to stay safe at home. So it's kind of like it's a difficult situation to be in. But yun nga, the difference is like before, my goal was to get married. But then now, that's not my goal anymore. Like, my goal is to just focus on myself and, you know, feel confident about, like, my career, like, maybe my financial goals, like that. So it has nothing to do with wanting to get married. Maybe a bit. Like, I think, naalala ko when I was younger, like, my reason for wanting to lose weight was so that when I get pregnant, hindi ako lalaki masyado. Yeah, like, what the hell?
Normal.
Parang, kailangan ko magpapayat at 24 so that when I get married, like, I won't get so big. But then now, like, my goal is still to lose weight, but my reason is not because I'm gonna get married. My reason is because I wanna be fit and healthy and I wanna feel good about myself. So, yun siya. I think the Joyce, the reason why we felt that way is because of our upbringing. I mean, alam mo naman, so Joyce and I are friends from high school. We went to a very conservative exclusive girls' school in the South.
Yeah,
And
di ba we were made to believe that we're supposed to play this role na to be mothers, di ba? Dapat
parang,
tayong maging nanay. We are perfect for raising children and taking care of a husband. Parang ganun yung mold na pinaplant sa utak natin na dapat ganun tayo. Eh paano na yan? Hindi tayo ganun, girl. Parang malayo sa personality.
You guys
Parang,
went to an all-girls school, no? Tama ba?
yes.
Wow, parang ngayon ko na na-realize, parang, wow, parang ibang level siguro ng pressure or expectations, parang, kasi all girls, ganyan. I went to a co-ed school kasi. Pero sorry, go on.
Iba din sa all girls. Parang, and it's not that I'm blaming, but siguro, because of that kind of environment/education, nagkaroon ako ng parang expectation sa sarili ko na dapat actually nga yung timeline ko dapat 29 marriage na yun eh. Kasi maybe also my parents got married at that my mom got married at that age. So inisip ko when I was younger, hindi ko naisip na pag 30s single pa ako. So medyo mahirap sa akin i-accept now actually. Lalo na ngayon na pandemic. Because honestly, I don't wanna grow old alone also. I want companionship and to have kids. So it's a lot of pressure on my mind and also on my sa puso. Yuck! Kasi syempre, iniisip ko na 33, so I have to get to know this person by this time. Tapos ikakasal kami, tapos parang it has also something to do with our biological clock na I don't want to have difficulty also. Sobrang tita ba ng concern ko?
No.
Yeah, I know
No.
Sobrang,
It's
oh my
real.
God.
Go
So,
on. Legit yan.
it's hard. It's hard. And I try to put myself out there din. Kasi I don't wanna be like nga lang dito and expect someone to come along. I alam ko naman that I have to do my part. So, I tried Bumble for a bit. Pero ang hirap eh. Parang hindi yata siya nag-aano sa akin. Hindi siya nag-work. Hindi na sustain. Nahihirapan akong mag-sustain. Boring. Hindi ko alam kung boring ako or
Baka
You're not
boring sila.
Yeah, you're not boring.
I think
Baka
we're
they're
both
trash.
trying. Parang hindi naman. Actually sa Bumble, parang matipino naman. Like, bihira lang ako makamit ng ano. I feel like we're all generally lonely. We're both trying to meet na we're both trying so hard na to find common ground. Pero hirap kasi it's a virtual place and parang you don't parang you still wear your mask. So it's hard to try to be authentic. Hindi mo din sure kung sino yung tao behind the username. So it's generally hard right now, lalo na sa pandemic. I feel like everyone is just, or maybe the guys are just tamad, or pati yung landi mode nila, parang work from home.
Noel, ba't ka
Parang wala
natawa?
lang.
Like, what are your guy friends like sharing with you? Like, yung mga single guys. Like, ano yung perspective nila on this matter?
Oh man, I'm not even sure if I'm the best person to say that. As what Joyce said, this whole pandemic, changed a lot of things, diba? It's a weird place. Everybody is like adjusting to things. It's not only the people who are trying to go out, seeing other people. It's also people who are working, people who are living inside the house. So yeah, I mean yung mga guy friends ko kasi lahat na sila may girl eh. So yung huling person sa barkada ko na nagka-girl, at least nahuli yung, I mean, nakuha niya yung girl before this whole pandemic dropped down. So yeah, I do understand the pressures that Joyce is going through, and I guess, ganun talaga. It's the new normal. And I think the most important thing here is, yun nga, everybody is adjusting. So there shouldn't be any, the pressures that we're thinking of, yung sinabi ni Joyce kanina, yung upbringing natin, yung family natin, yung school natin, all of those pressures and all of those norms were all from the pre-pandemic world. So it's kind of unfair for everyone if you bring that pressure into the pandemic world. Kasi iba yung ano natin iba yung setting natin 'di ba? So yeah, it just makes it kind of tough for everyone. Yun lang.
I like what you said about the pressures that we're experiencing now are from the pre-pandemic world, and the pressures like we're
Yeah.
facing like right now may not necessarily be the same anymore. So I think that's a very good
Yeah.
point. Like we have to readjust also and adapt to the changes. And it's the same like with our parents, diba? Like our parents lived in a different world with different circumstances, and it was easier for them to get married and settle down at an earlier age, and it was easier for them to buy a house, diba? At tayo nga, hindi na, like, I can't
Yeah.
even afford like, buy a house, like, what the hell? So, how about
Yeah.
you, Gay? Like, did you ever feel pressured before the pandemic to like find a partner, or like what has there been any difference for you? Like, how's it like?
Ako kasi as a gay woman, feeling ko iba yung experience ko. Like, compared to, say, straight women, like parang alam ko na marriage is actually not an option. Ganun. So, and that brings with it a whole host of other issues na I probably won't talk about right now. Pero, napansin ko nga yun among yung mga straight women friends ko na there is that pressure or expectation to maybe get married and have kids. Ganun.
It has a lot to do with our biological clock also, right? Although, like, I think I've already given up on that 20-year-old dream of mine. But although, like what Joy said earlier, parang it's still hard to accept na baka nga that's not meant for us anymore. Ewan ko. Like, maybe we're not meant to have kids or whatever. So, okay lang yan. Like, if we don't end up with the plan that we wanted before, then, it's okay. Like, it doesn't mean we failed at life or anything. Diba? Noel, you said something about that yesterday while we were talking. You said something about like shit happening, things not going the way that we wanted to. Because Noel's actually newly married. Yeah, right?
Congratulations!
Would you still consider
Sana all.
you're still
Joke.
considered a newly married couple? Kasi 2020 lang sila nagpakasal eh. So,
Oh, actually, sorry, 2019. Like sa katapusan ng 2019, before everything went down. Actually, sinasabi ko nga I was telling Anna yesterday na yung wedding namin, I was telling Anna na that was the last normal social event we were in before the pandemic hit. So after ng wedding namin, parang ang dami ng kagulong nangyari sa mundo. Yun, pandemic. So yun.
so what have you learned
From
like what, kasi 'di ba, like although marriage was already like in your plan and you knew that that's something that you wanted, it also wasn't like easy for you because you had to deal with other challenges and pressures coming from everywhere. Like it wasn't just the marriage itself, but you also had to figure out how to handle like leaving the country and leaving everything behind, basically, right?
Yeah.
With no
Yeah.
like job security and whatsoever. So it's another aspect of like societal pressures that
Mhm.
is related or very connected to marriage and settling down.
Yeah. So when that happened, we first got the news nung around 2018. I think mga during the Burr months of 2018 that yun nga, my my wife had a good opportunity elsewhere and which was really far away. So nung time na yun, obviously hindi ko pa masyado hindi pa masyado nagse-settle in sa mind ko. So I was just telling her, go for it. If I were you, I'd probably do the same. Obviously when opportunity comes knocking in the door, I think everybody here would do the same. Anything that is better than where you're currently at, gagawin.
Go.
So fast forward to 2019. I guess I didn't really have too much pressure. I think the only pressure was that from my family, obviously from my mom, kasi during that time, my dad was already of age. So yung dad ko already had dementia by, I think at the start of 2016, nagkaroon na siya ng early signs of dementia, and it progressed through the years. So I think the pressure for me was really more on, syempre, choosing, 'di ba? You have to make a choice. So, yeah, nag-usap kami ni wifey nun. So, ano yung mga options natin, ano yung mga gagawin natin. But at the same time, hindi rin ako super, I wasn't like, it wasn't the end of the world if I was gonna leave, because again, my other brother was there. So he's still there. Thank God. So he's still there. He's still with my mom. So I think all of these things were from the mind. Sabi nga nila, the mind is very powerful, diba? And as soon as you entertain all of these thoughts, whether in your free time or before you sleep, it can really get to you. Pero yun nga, as soon as it happened, as soon as we got to do the move, it was easier for me to start just living life. Ganun yun eh. Things happen, and you just have to move on, and you have to do with the best that's offered to you. Basically, playing the cards that you're dealt with. So, buti na lang, I had prior experience in the kitchen kasi nga meron akong before quitting corporate in 2018. After quitting corporate in 2018, I had experience na sa food business namin. So medyo na-hone yung kitchen skills ko dun, and I was able to manage working the kitchen 365 days a year, or actually most of the year, diba? Most of the year. So syempre I had to accept that role na ako yung in charge sa kitchen, because syempre I was preparing all of our daily meals. So yeah, I mean, what I learned from living, especially independently, after 2 years, is that you have to choose to move on, and you have to just make do, and kailangan galingin mo kung saan ka, 'di ba? Exactly, because if you're still stuck on the past, or if you're still stuck on thinking about all of those pressures that family or friends have been talking about, syempre ang hirap to live life. And I think that's also one of the things na nakatulong sa amin, is that moving out of the country also takes away some of the pressure, 'di ba? Kasi you live life in your own terms eh. Wala na yung mga external noise na ano pa yung ginagawa niyo dyan? Or parang, bakit bakit wala pa kayong ganyan by this time? Or bakit wala pa kayong, so on and so forth. Alam niyo yun.
Ah.
So yeah, moving away from from the country actually helped us realize our new reality kasi we were able to work together without those external pressures. Na parang kami lang. Tapos yun nangyari pa yung pandemic. So naging interesting din kasi si Wifey was working from home since March and up to now hindi pa sila pumapasok. So there was a lot of interesting dynamics that we learned to work with, living in a different country and living in a different country tapos pandemic pa. So interesting.
It's really interesting that moving away like allowed you to focus on yourselves and not feel pressured or distracted by external like forces or like other people. So
Yeah.
maybe that's the reason why here there's more pressure.
Yeah.
No? Bakit Joyce?
Sa Pinas.
Sobrang pressure
Yeah.
natin.
Maybe kasi we are in the company of people who have certain expectations of us kasi.
Yep.
And we're also, being close to each other, the proximity allows us to observe each other also. As
Yep.
friends, as peers. We have, other people have expectations of us and we also have expectations sa friends natin. So we're all putting expectations on everyone. So
Yeah.
let's all move to Costa Rica na.
Yeah.
That's
Away,
the
let's go to Costa
solution.
Rica.
Ano na lang guys, kita-kitsa lang dito.
Yeah. Punta na lang kami dyan.
Parang chill lang kasi
Oo.
kayo dyan eh. So,
Yeah, so I totally get yung sinabi ni Joyce. Sobrang relate ako dyan. In fact, nag-usap, I remember our conversations with my brother some years ago. Kasi yung eldest brother namin, who's also living abroad, he's actually living with his wife na sa Indonesia naman. So, that's not so far. It's actually a 3-hour flight from Manila. Pero, na-share din yan na it's a totally different eye-opener, a totally different relief from from not living with your family. I mean, I know family is family, diba? It's there. You can't choose your family, diba? So sila yung kasama mo from the get-go. So definitely, the respect is there and the gratitude is there. Pero at the same time, yun nga when you grow up, you get to choose na obviously you have to live on your own terms. You can't be with your family all the time, depending on your circumstances. So it's definitely a refreshing perspective to live separate from them. Obviously, syempre nami-miss mo pa rin sila, 'di ba? Nami-miss mo pa rin sila, especially for me who has lived in the Philippines for all his life tapos kakalipat ko lang 2 years ago. So, yeah, nakakamiss din. Pero interesting din na parang lahat ng naisip kong fears nun before moving was just actually all in my mind eh. Kasi, it's hindi lang naman to Singapore na parang sobrang lapit lang, 'di ba? It's actually halfway around the world and obviously when you want to come home, unang-una mahal na mga flights. So kailangan talaga kung uuwi ka, kailangan planado. But I'm just saying that maganda yung experience. It was better than what I imagined prior to flying out. Kasi syempre, inisip ko, shit, Costa Rica, parang walang Jollibee doon, walang Max Chicken doon,
Yeah.
I mean, all of those things, sobrang dami kong naisip, which was all in my head. And when I actually did it, nung lumipat na kami dito, it's just like living. And ang maganda ron is Costa Rica, since nga it's tropical, it's very similar. Maraming similarity siya sa Philippines. The only exception is that it's not as metropolitan as Metro Manila. Pero yung mga like yung mga villages dito, yung mga bahay dito, yung mga towns, yung mga barrios, even yung mga beaches and like, maraming similarities sa Pinas. So we were really thankful to 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 move into a country na hindi sobrang gulo kasi nga 5 million lang kami dito eh. Imagine yung Pilipinas 100 million, 'di ba? Dito kami 5 million lang. So yeah, it was an interesting turn of events.
Maybe that's why it's so hard to find a partner because there's so many people here in the Philippines. I don't know.
Parang quantity over quality, ganun ba?
Oo.
Yeah, but pero yun nga eh, like going back to what Joyce said and Gail said about and what you said about yung pressures natin. I think the most important thing, especially during this new normal, is we have to the expectations of the pre-pandemic world are not fair to be imposed on the pandemic world because yun nga, as you guys said, unang-una yung upbringing natin iba, diba? So case in point, our parents, I'm sure most of our parents were probably married even before their 30s. Ako, yung mom ko was married before her 30s. So yun pa lang, coming from that background, parang pressured ka na, diba? May indirect pressure na dun kasi oh shit, yung mom ko kasal na by this time. But iba yung climate nun eh. Iba yung social climate, iba yung economy nun. As you said, mas mura yung mga stuff noon ngayon, so nagsisimahalan na yung mga stuff ngayon, 'di ba? So I think that's the reason why a lot of yung generation natin are choosing to settle down at a time na mas secure sila because there's so many opportunities, but at the same time everything has risen in terms of prices, in terms of, 'di ba? So yun eh. There's so many pressures na dapat we have to cut out all the noise, so to speak. So yun.
So balik tayo ulit dun sa tip ng which I keep hearing from everybody, like unfollow and mute social media accounts that don't benefit you. Yun pa rin. Yeah, cut out all the noise. Joyce.
Naisip ko lang like with what Noel said na parang if we were to do away with the pre-pandemic expectations, ano na ngayon yung magiging new normal expectations? Kasi syempre meron yan eh. Mawawala yung luma, papalitan niya ng bago. So ano na yung bago? Will it be like live our lives to the fullest, YOLO? Bahala. Will it be like that na?
Ikaw, anong
Maybe.
palagay mo?
Ako kasi day by day na lang, hindi na ako masyado nagpaplano. I already got rid of all the long-term plans I had in mind because nothing is really certain for me. In my case, parang it helps me cope with the pandemic na kung ano lang yung kaya kong gawin today, like day by day, survival mode lang ako. So I don't really think of things like long term. So therefore, dahil ganun yung coping mechanism ko, wala na rin akong expectations. Bala na.
Yeah, maybe the expectation is there are no expectations anymore.
Is that more difficult mentally or easier ba yun?
I feel like it might feel confusing, right? To not have expectations. But doesn't it also open up like more opportunities, like to be whoever you want to be and not give a shit about what other people think? Like right at a certain age, you will get to that mindset. Is that something that you are experiencing like right now? Kasi, diba, like I don't know what happened, but like when I turned 30, like all of a sudden I started not caring so much. Like I still kind of do, but I feel like as you get older, we start not caring more and more, right?
Yeah. You let go of stuff and
I can, yung parang the cliche na na once you hit 40, parang you have less fucks or no fucks to give. Feeling ko na-experience ko yun. And hindi ko siya ma-explain bukod sa siguro, bukod sa I turned 40 and then I just felt like parang the expectations I had of myself na hindi ko na-fulfill. Parang I used to be so tormented over these things. Pero I'm 42 now. So parang since a few years ago, parang I started parang not feeling bad about those things. And feeling more okay with myself where I am currently. And ano siya, very unfamiliar or alien na feeling siya for me. Kasi I had a lot of expectations of myself when I was younger. Yun lang. Hindi ko lang siya ma-explain bukod sa something
just
clicked. Something clicked when I turned 40. I don't know. Yun.
Is it okay to ask like what expectations you had for yourself when you were younger?
Since I did not have yung expectations na I imagine you guys had as straight people, which is find a partner, get married, have kids. Ang expectations I had of myself were parang since I was young, mostly academic. Kasi I was pretty good. I was a good student. Tapos from a school in the South din. Medyo magkapit-bahay yung schools natin. Same village. So anyway, so yun yung expectations ko I had of myself. Tapos I guess that would extend then to professional expectations. Tapos na feeling ko hindi ko rin na-fulfill. And like I said, very kind of parang it made me miserable for most of my life until recently. Masyado bang abstract yun?
Hindi. Actually, ang insight ko dyan is whatever like stage in life you're in, no matter what sexual orientation you have, you're always gonna have expectations for yourself and you're always gonna pressure yourself. And yung sabi nga ni Noel, it's all in your mind. Like it's only you. You're the one who is putting pressure on yourself, right?
Yeah. But I feel like naiinggit ako. Parang I feel like you've come at peace na with who you are and kung ano man yung naabot mo. So I'm kind of happy and inggit for you na parang gusto ko rin okay na rin. Gusto ko rin maabot yung stage na okay na ako. Na parang hindi ko na pinipressure sarili ko. Parang I am at peace with who I am. I also want that unfamiliar feeling.
How do you think?
Parang I feel like
for you din.
Parang saya.
Actually, I call it middle-age fatigue. Parang I joke about it with friends. I call it middle-age fatigue. Kasi feeling ko parang I just got tired of hating myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds like a true statement. I just got tired of parang being so hard on myself. And for some reason, I was able to not be so hard on myself. So yeah. I wish this middle-age fatigue on you din.
Yeah, thank
everyone
you.
who wants it.
Thank you.
Then,
Gusto
how do you
mag-fast forward.
think we can achieve that? Like, kailangan ba mag-antay kami na tumanda na rin?
Siguro, be old and get tired more easily.
Papagurin namin sarili namin until it clicks.
Ako, si Noel naman sounds, you sound like you're satisfied.
Yeah.
Noel,
parang goods na eh.
Tama ba yung assessment ko? Or?
Parang, I don't feel like you're pressured about anything anymore when that's great. Like, what do you think contributed to that aside from, leaving the country?
Okay, so yeah, I think a big factor was leaving the country. That's one. Second would be um, I do have friends as well who are living abroad, and one of my close friends from high school nakatira na sa States, and I was checking out his social media, and parang wala na siyang masyadong pinagkakaabalahan, alam mo yun. Pero I was probably thinking, shit, ano kaya yung iniisip na to? Like, is he just like, ganun na lang ba siya? Is he just, parang sort of like drifting within life? But, yun nga parang, at his, same age naman kami. Iniisip ko na, parang iniisip niya, parang, wala na rin siyang pakialam Alam mo yun, parang, he used to be employed. He used to work with a good company dun sa States. Pero, he's not really pressuring himself or forcing himself. I think, guys, yun yung one of the things also that we have to realize about the human mind and how we deal with this is that we're never going to be satisfied. That's something that you have to accept. I mean, good for Gail. I mean, saludo ko kay Gail na nahanap niya yung parang, oh, wala na akong pake, dude. Like, wala na akong energy for that. And naiintindihan ko yun. But again, tama yung sinabi mo, Anna, and tama yung sinabi mo, Joyce, na all of us, whatever age, whatever gender you are, meron kang expectation not only from external factors like family and friends, you also have expectations for yourself. So, case in point, ako, nung pagdating ko dito, obviously, I was just really just working mostly on the kitchen, doing the dishes. Si wifey naman, ang role niya is that she would help with the laundry. She would, syempre, siya yung cat mama So siya yung naglilinis ng litter box ng mga cats. So we got comfortable real quickly. Naging comfortable kami dun sa namin. Hindi namin pinilit sa isa't isa na, uy, ikaw gagawa niyan. Ako, naturally, since may experience na ako sa pagluluto with the business, I was in the kitchen and I was in the dishes, so I had no problem with that. And she was doing her own thing. So I think one of the most important things that we have to really accept is that you're never going to be satisfied as long as you're alive. Like, you have to be at peace. I think probably Gail is at peace already with that concept na even if I wasn't happy then, parang look, life is short, diba? Parang the next thing you know, you're like 60 or 70 and you're still hammering yourself with the pressures of when you were 20 or 30 years old. So I think especially with what you see not only on TV but in social media na parang, uy, dude, si kaibigan ko, yung tropa ko may bahay na, yung tropa ko may kotse na. I've been seeing my friends, and honestly, I have to share that some of the people na nakita ko sa social media back then nung nasa Pinas pa ako, syempre naiinggit ako, 'di ba? Normal lang naman 'yun 'Di ba? Normal 'yun Parang naiinggit ka na parang, oh shit, nakakuha na siya ng bahay, nakakuha na siya ng job abroad, nakakuha na siya ng ganto, ganyan. But again, if you entertain those thoughts and if you just go back to those thoughts, yun lang lagi mong iniisip, wala talagang mangyayari sa'yo, 'di ba? Parang lagi ka lang, parang shit, ano ba nangyayari sa akin? But, when I moved here, yung pag-check ko ng social media, alam mo yun, pang ano na lang pang it wasn't as much as before in the Philippines kasi siyempre sa Pinas, yun nga, kasama mo yung mga kaibigan mo, kasama mo yung mga family mo. So dami mong like sobrang iniisip kaya napapraning ka. But I guess yun nga, you just have to accept the fact that as long as you're alive, you're always gonna be
Never
pressured.
satisfied.
The question is, bibigay ka ba dun? Bibigay ka ba dun sa idea na magpapaano ka na lang, magpapa-pressure ka na lang, magpapainggit ka na lang. So, it's nice. It's nice to see everybody achieve something, but don't let it get to your head na ako, ano nagagawa ko? Kasi pumasok sa isip ko yun eh. Kasi naisip ko yung mga friends ko na nagpa-progress na sa kanilang corporate life. Sabi ko, shit, here I am. I'm, doing the dishes. I'm cooking. I'm doing the dishes. I should be doing more, especially coming from a background na yung dad ko, obviously, old school background. Dad was the breadwinner, single income, and then mom was siya yung taking care of everything else. So when I lived here, I started to let go of that idea and told myself, look, it's not like I'm not going to be employed again anytime soon. It's just that I'm still adjusting here, especially with what happened with the world, with the pandemic. So you have to give yourself some time. You just have to give yourself some time. You have to ask yourself, magpapa-pressure ba ako o magpapainggit ba ako to the point na ayoko nang magising bukas or ayoko nang alam mo yun, yung ganun. You have to ask yourself that. And it's okay if you're not ready to accept that yet, you can take all your time, especially in this new normal. You just have to be mindful na kung iisipin mo yan every day, syempre sana one day makalipas ka rin, maka-move on ka rin, and like think healthy thoughts. Kasi syempre ano mo rin yan eh, not only mental health but also ma-affect din yung physical health mo. And if you're not feeling good, obviously you don't do good, diba? So yun. So yeah, maswerte na lang kami. Maswerte kami na we were able to move to a country na unang-una, it's a beautiful country here. Pero yun nga, one of the differences here, which is what I miss naman sa Pinas. Medyo na-miss ko yung pollution. De joke lang. Na-miss ko yung liveliness ng Metro Manila. So si wifey tsaka ako, we just had a recent trip to the States. Binisita namin yung pinsa namin. Binisita namin yung ninang-ninong namin sa kasal who weren't able to go nung kasal namin kasi they had other events there. So nung bumisita kami sa States, na-miss namin yung city life. Kasi dito sa Costa Rica, medyo sobrang mabagal naman dito. Like yung dito, most of the land area here is rural eh. So it's really more nature. Like marami kang places to go to hike, to see waterfalls, maraming beaches obviously, sobrang daming beaches dito. Yung nearest beach namin is like 1 hour away. So na-miss namin yung parang shit, yung mga buildings, yung mga easily accessible na mall and restaurants. Can you believe that? Parang I'm sure kayo, siguro sa Metro Manila, parang sukang-suka na kayo dyan, diba?
We want the beach, yeah.
I'm sure sukang-suka na kayo. Pero kami naman, after living 2 years here sa rural country na Costa Rica, but beautiful, na-miss namin yung city life. So, yeah, so that's why excited din kami na uuwi kami soon for the holidays. So hopefully matuloy yun. Hopefully things improve sa Manila. But yeah, it allowed us some time to just work by ourselves and just do us.
Do you.
So to speak. Yeah.
And you're always gonna want what you can't have.
Yeah, that's also something, whatever you don't have now, there's an urge within you na parang shit, gusto ko kunin yun. So that's also yung sinasabi ng boss ko, because right now, FYI, so after about 7 months, no, after about 8 months of like just staying at home, working in the kitchen, I was lucky to find a job. So ngayon, I work freelance. I do part-time. I was super lucky during the pandemic na nakahanap ako ng work kasi yung boss ko, who is in California-based siya, sabi niya, the reason why I got you was because of the pandemic. So yun yung irony, di ba? So sa pandemic, a lot of people lost their jobs and sobrang, pati dito kita mo, nung kasagsagan ng pandemic dito, people were like literally begging on the streets with signs na obviously in Spanish, pero saying na tulong kasi nawala na yung trabaho ko. So that's one of the things na super grateful ako na kahit na part-time lang siya, the pay is decent. I was able to find work at home, di ba? And that's something na hindi ko in-expect on my first year. I was able to work September of 2020. And yeah, nung nakilala ko yung boss ko, because he's a consultant and he also does some coaching. So he says na, the person, the problem with the human being is that we're always chasing. Diba? We're always chasing and we're never arriving. Ibig sabihin, you live your life always chasing something. You're always chasing money. You're always chasing, dream vacation, dream car, dream house. But you never think na parang, you never get to really live your life anymore. Kasi parang focus ka na lang eh. Parang isipin mo, pagising mo, shit, I have to work kasi kailangan ko makuha yung bahay. I have to work kasi kailangan ko makuha yung, gusto ko magbakasyon elsewhere. So, yung mentality na yun, especially now, with the pandemic, it's not a very healthy combination, diba? So, some people are lucky that they find to live life na okay na sila without chasing too much. Like, example, si Gail. So, na-gets ko yung sinasabi niya in a sense because ang saya ng feeling na yun eh. Ang saya ng feeling na parang di ka natatakbo ng sobrang hingal na hingal ka. Diba? You're always chasing, diba? So, si Gail, I think, she's already arrived at a point in her life na parang she just wants to live, day by day. And yun din yung nalaman ko dito. And yun nga yung sinabi ni Joyce kanina na she wants to live day by day. I think that's also the secret is that don't be too hung up on the far future, on your plans. Because if 2020 taught us anything is that you have a plan until you get punched in the face, diba?
Yeah.
AKA the pandemic. So I'm sure
Yeah.
all of us had plans. Alam mo kami ni Wifey, bago kami lumipat dito, pinlano na namin, nasa Costa Rica na tayo, malapit na tayo sa Mexico, malapit na tayo sa Peru, malapit na tayo sa Guatemala. All of those places na gusto namin puntahan, hindi namin napuntahan dahil sa pandemic. Pero nakaswerte kami, yung honeymoon namin was in Mexico, sa may Cancun. So, 4 days kami doon. We actually had that vacation 3 days or 2 days before the lockdown happened. So, yun, sobrang photo finish na naman yun. So, yung Mexico na was our last trip during the pre-pandemic world. So, yeah, we were just grateful. And I guess if there's anything that the pandemic taught us is that, yun lang, sobrang yung perspective eh. Yung perspective na isipin mo, parang shit, sobrang malas ko. I'm living during a pandemic, but at the same time, look, you have a roof over your head, you have a job, you have these other things that other people probably lost more. So I think also perspective is also one of the things that the pandemic taught everyone, diba? You have to feel that kahit na you think that your life sucks, a lot of people have it way worse, diba? So yeah.
Yeah, and yeah, just to add to that, that is very nice. Yeah. I think it's really up to us to define like what we want out of life. Like, we can't change a situation, but we can always change our mindset about it. Like Joyce, kung tayo, like we were so stuck on the idea of getting married and having kids, maybe at the end of the day, what we really want is like a family. And a family doesn't mean like having a kid, like it could be having a pet,
Yeah.
dog, or
Yeah.
or being with their friends. Like maybe we have to change the norm, change the norm and normalize like other things.
Oh.
Like,
Normalize, yeah.
Gail, baka tayo na yung end game. Just kidding.
Co-housing.
Co-housing. Oh. But we
Oh.
can't afford,
Parang in a
we can't,
community, tas puro kayong
Oo.
mga friends.
we can't afford our own house. Edi let's find a way to share the burden with other friends, and we can all just, diba,
Yeah.
share space. So I guess yung what's the good thing about like the present times is that parang we have access to that information. We have access to resources and technology which maybe our parents didn't have before, and in that sense that makes us privileged actually.
Yeah.
Now we have the opportunity to be able to talk about these things that they didn't have before. Diba? Wala silang option eh. Dati, like, it was just like a straight line for them. But then, now, we live in such a super, like, multifaceted, like, interconnected world where everything is possible. And you can make money virtually.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
nobody can go after it. Diba? So,
Yeah.
yan.
But sometimes naman, ano naman siya, info, parang it's too
Overload.
much naman.
Overload.
It's too much info. It's too much stimulation, right? So, soon as you wake up, dami na notifications ng phone mo. Kaya ako, I've developed the habit na, as what my wife was doing, was at a certain time sa gabi, ino-off na niya yung mga notifications sa phone niya. So, it helps you, it helps you kind of settle down bago ka matulog. Kasi obviously, pag bukas pa yung mga notifications sa phone mo, tumatakbo pa yung isip mo, di ka talaga makakatulog. So, that's also one of the things that you need to practice, is that you need to kind of unplug or detach some hours in the day, because you're basically on your screen. It's either you're on your laptop or you're on your tablet, you're on your, diba? So, yung screen time din, nakaka-contribute din yan to a lot of unhealthy stuff.
Disconnecting is super healthy for like mental wellness. If it's too much,
exactly.
sobrang does wonders to disappear. Me time.
Oh, exactly.
Okay, so yeah, I think we can end on that note, right?
Yeah.
Let us disconnect and not overthink kasi it's all in our head.
Yeah.
The pressure is just all in our head.
Tsaka isipin nyo guys, like ngayon, well, sa generation natin, kasi puro screen time nga tayo. Isipin nyo yung generation, like, a few years who are older than us, right? So what were they doing back then in the 90s, diba? What were they doing? I mean, I'm sure they were doing some other stuff besides looking at a screen. So, I don't know. Baka may article na ganun sa Google na parang mag-research ka. Ano ba ginagawa ng mga tao?
Equivalent
Diba?
ng social media nila.
Did you guys parang
before.
grow up parang in a world na meron ng internet?
Oo.
Kasi I
pasimula
didn't.
pa lang yung internet.
Ansky, wala pa. Wala pa.
Pero,
Parang we're like in between. Pero we sort of grew up na medyo marunong pa tayong mabuhay ng walang ano. Like sa labas, naglalaro sa labas and stuff. Naabutan pa natin yun.
Yeah, naabutan natin siya. Pero we were really young. Which is great kasi those were our formative years. So at least
parang may internet na nung nasa high school kayo, no?
Nung grade school
Yes.
pa lang, primary
Grade
pa lang
7.
meron na.
Holy
We
shit.
had internet grade 2, grade 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kasi ako,
Talaga?
I had
Meron ng
parang,
Yeah.
parang nagka-email lang ako parang college eh.
Wow.
Interesting
So,
din. Interesting perspective.
Inisip ko yung kids today are smarter because they're more informed, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Tapos feeling ko may pagka-dark ages yung siguro yung time namin na as in walang internet at all. Tapos isip ko, saan namin nakukuha yung information namin? Sa TV, sa dyaryo.
Oh.
Hindi naman ako pumunta sa library. Basta parang very limited. Pati yung worldview, very limited.
Naabutan din namin yun eh. Yung mag-research ka tapos encyclopedia.
Catalog.
Diba?
Hanap ka
Diba?
encyclopedia.
Nakakatawa nga, di ba may joke or parang may meme sa internet ngayon na pag nasa banyo ka, these days, nasa phone ka. Pero noon, kung nasa banyo ka, titignan mo yung mga shampoo, di ba? Yung mga shampoo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ang laman ng
Shampoo.
shampoo.
Parang, uy, ano kaya ingredients nito? Mga ganun.
Yeah.
Nagbabasa
Yes.
ako dati, like, ng comics, ganyan. But,
Yeah. Oh, Archie, di ba? Yung mga ganun.
Archie.
mga-
Pang CR talaga yun, Archie. Tagal-tagal sa CR. Diba?